I'm already your chapter treasurer, and today we're here with Dr. Kristen Gaddis, and she's a geneticist at the United States Council of Dairy Cattle Breeding. And so, do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. I'm Kristen Gaddis. I am a geneticist. Yeah, repeating everything you said. Geneticist at CDCB. I have been there for a little over 3 years now. And we're located in Maryland, kind of in between Baltimore and Washington, D.C. And I used to be in North Carolina, and I'm unfortunately no longer there.
All right. So, what is being a geneticist? What is that like on a daily basis?
So for me, I work with genetic data. So when I tell people that like I have a degree in animal science, you're typically thinking about, animals and such, but usually I am sitting in front of a computer most days. So a typical day is working on research projects. So what we do is kind of like 23andMe, but for cows, for dairy cows. So 23andMe looks at, different health traits and things. For cows, we'll look at, their production, also their health and having calves and reproductive traits and things like that. So what I do is research new traits that might be advantageous to dairy producers to look at and improve on for their cows. So looking at statistics and numbers and analyzing data is usually what I do most days.
So, whenever you were going into this career, what kind of education did you have to get?
So I started out in undergrad getting a degree in animal science, and I wanted to be a vet, I thought. But I learned that I liked the research side of things after I was in, undergraduate classes, and I also worked at a vet for like 3.5 years during undergrad. And so that helped me figure out that I liked the research side of things.
Mm-hmm.
So I still wanted to go to vet school and just do research. And then one of my professors told me, if you want to do this type of research, you can go to grad school and we'll pay you to go to grad school and learn this instead of going to vet school and paying them. So that kind of helped make my decision a little easier. So undergrad, then I applied to grad school. I went straight into a PhD program, which isn't very common, but it's getting more common. And so I was there for 5 years, and then I did a postdoc. So that was after getting the PhD for 2 years at the USDA. And then I got my job.
Awesome. So, you just said what made you want to go in this career, but before you wanted to be a geneticist, what made you want to go into the animal science field?
So I just really loved animals, and that was the first thing, was that I wanted to be a vet. And as I explored more classes in undergrad, I kind of was exposed to new things that I didn't even know existed, like breeding and genetics. I kind of took the class because it sounded interesting, and I learned that it was a way to combine working with the numbers and data that I was really good at with the animals that I also loved. So that helped. That was kind of the steering force.
So, what do you like about your job, and what are some things that you don't like, if there is any?
So I like being able to solve problems in my job. I like there are times when we get to communicate with producers and talk with them and show them the things that we're doing that are going to help them, and that's really fun. And getting to hear their stories. What do I not like about my job? Sometimes it gets frustrating. If you have a research problem and you can't figure it out, and every day you seem to hit a wall and keep trying different things, so it gets a little frustrating sometimes. But then when you actually do figure it out, that's really rewarding too. So
What's an example of like a research problem that you might solve? Like,
let's see. I'm trying to think of something. I don't know that we necessarily solved a research problem, but so one of my big project when I first started working was the development of health traits for dairy cows. So we can take their genetic information and tell a producer which cow genetically should be healthier than the others. So a lot of my work was into being able to tell the producers that. I don't know that that's hopefully solving part of a problem for them. I don't know, it's not solving everything, but that was a fun project and still ongoing. But
so what kind of advice would you give to someone who wanted to pursue your career or just a career in the animal science field? Just
in the animal science field in general, I would say like get out there and explore what there is. At least when I was in school, there wasn't a lot of information about all the different options that are out there. I think there's a lot more than I ever realized. For my career specifically, things that I didn't do that I wish I had done. Take more computer science classes, more statistics classes. If you want to be in like the breeding and genetics field, it's a lot of math and stats and computer programming. So if you have a solid foundation in that, it's a lot easier.
all right. So, and you mentioned that you went to school with Miss Pack, and I know she went to NC State. Did you do all of your schooling there, or?
Yeah, I should have mentioned that. I did my undergrad at NC State, and I stayed there to do my PhD as well. And then my postdoc was with USDA, which I said, and then also with University of Florida in Gainesville.
I'm not sure if this is known or not, and I just don't know it, but what is a postdoc?
So a postdoc is after you finish a PhD, you can go and do you're kind of like a researcher, but you're not a wholly independent one. You're working for someone else. Mm-hmm. So it's like postdoctoral research. So I studied some fertility traits and dairy cattle and things like that, but you're getting more experience in your field and some more training beyond your degree.
Cool. So one last thing, what was Miss Pack like in college?
Sorry if you can hear my bird laughing.
Okay, it's time for me to unmute.
She was very fun and delightful, and clearly I'm still friends with her, so.
All right. Well, thank you for spending your time with us to tell us a little bit about your career and what you do on a daily basis.
No problem.